Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crit Couch. We are in the Sand Temple. I am Michael.
And I'm Skylar.
And he was asking me to
about
explain...
teledildonics.
It did come up.
But no, actually, what? So white black wizard. What?
Okay, it's magic. So, so the way... This again goes back to the idea of like the simplification of stuff in the game. So rather than have MP, you just have casts, kind of in a Dungeons and Dragons style.
Oh yeah, very much so.
But it's even more reduced. So like in the original Final Fantasy, they straight up use like a D&D style. There's like multiple levels of magic, and as you level up, you'll get like, you know, up to 9 casts of level 1, and then level 2 and level 3. And then you go all the way to level 8, and those don't tend to cap out at 9.
Okay.
They might if you level up enough. I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
This one reduces it even further, where it's just like you have 8 casts of any white magic.
Okay.
Or 4 casts of black magic, and then wizard magic is like the stronger magic.
Oh, okay. This place is gonna be scary. You can tell from the
turtle shells.
skeletons.
The turtle shells.
Those are turtle shells?
I mean, what else would you call that?
I was talking about the skeleton. Look, that.
Oh.
There's a skeleton, Michael. Although I did not notice you were bouncing on turtle shells.
Yep. And we're gonna go in the water.
They are wet.
But so yeah, this game is super fascinating. Because I was talking about, you know, the sense that it's not a hard game. Nope.
The door's sealed. Fuck. Watch this. Yeah, fucking crazy, right? Aren't these something? I'll sell you some cheap. How about 50 explosives for 30?
Okay.
All right, I'll cut you a deal. How about
Oh, whoa, wait! I canceled accidentally.
50 explosives for 15?
Yeah, sure. I
Why
wonder
don't
if
you
I can
spell?
actually get those for free, because you have to have those to beat the game.
Do you really?
Well, yeah, it's part of the... It's one of your 4 weapon types. There's one more weapon type we'll get in the next world.
So you can. That'd be interesting.
What do you mean?
I actually am curious now. Like if you had just kept telling them.
Yeah, I've never actually
you can blow up on
done that, but yeah, you can blow up everything. Found steel shield.
Sweet. Did you already equip it?
Yeah, it's all automated.
Cool. Oh, you don't have to do shit in this game.
No, and like I said,
Final Fantasy Tactics, eat your heart out.
Yeah. So, you know, that whole thing about the Western RPGs and all of that. So, like, this is a super reduced variation. Now, it's colorful. There's a lot of like kind of cool visual stuff, like with the enemy types.
There's like a dance party.
Like this guy,
What
like this
is
dude
that?
is like, hey.
Have you seen this shit?
I've seen some things.
He had some. Oh.
No! Now I'm dead.
Yeah, wow. Killed the shit out of him.
So it's not a hard game. There's not a lot of challenge. So the game really ultimately is just like, hey, we're moving through this world and kind of seeing some stuff. So, like, my general approach to this game is that it's not the worst thing. But from the perspective of an RPG player, which you know, if we're being fair, the only person that's going to buy a Final Fantasy game in the 90s
Someone who genuinely cares.
is
about
someone who is familiar with either the Final Fantasy name from the NES or just RPGs in general, which you had like Final Fantasy, you had Dragon Quest. What's up?
Real quick, I know these things just have tentacles, but if you look at that bottom set of tentacles, like his eyes, he looks really doofy. You see what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the top or like little eyebrows on top of it.
Okay.
But so, like, if you look at it from that perspective, this skeleton is an idiot.
I'm just crouched because, oh, fuck.
Especially when his head falls off. It does make a lot of sense that, like, this would irritate people, because you don't have... Like, I won't say, like, the original Final Fantasy really had a lot of choice. You could pick your character classes, so you could make kind of a variety of different party lineups, which led to some things like the all-white mage challenge.
That behemoth looks cool.
Yeah. And then you did have a limit with your casters.
Mm-hmm.
So you could only there were always 4 types of magic for each tier, and you could only buy 3. Like you would only have 3 spells logged in each level. So there was some decision making in terms of which ones do we ignore, like what's the best setup, whatever.
Will you get multiple party members?
You never have more than 2.
Okay.
You notice like the way the UI is lined up. Yeah, you never have more than 2. And so, there is kind of I think a good question as to like why examine this game? Like why do a playthrough? Well, one, like it's not too hard to go through the playthrough, and there is some cool stuff to look at. And for me, I am not saying that this is like a fantastic game. There's a lot of, especially contextual to the history of it, flaws. And I keep missing with a battle axe on this dying skeleton.
You already broke his sword.
Yeah, but he still does damage. But so for me, like, I guess
oh no!
In one sense, it's kind of a fun thing to explore, just in terms of like showing it off, because it does get a lot of negative attention. So I don't know how many people have honestly like seen a lot of this game. And
is that a hidden thing, basically?
Yeah, and it's, I guess, if we're going to speak about design concepts, it's a terrible hidden thing because it gives you nothing. It gives you 10 ninja stars.
Well, he does have a limited amount of those. So.
He does, but the game is so basic, it really doesn't matter in a lot of ways.
Gotcha.
Like to run, you would have to kind of try to run out of those ninja stars. Because by the time we get to like the kind of final enemy in the dungeon, it's not really relevant. But yeah, like I don't know how many people have really seen their way through all of this because
they write it off. Basically,
it is written off. I think it is an interesting primer to kind of adventures. Like adventure games, which, and when I say that, like,
from the dead, that's why I'm green.
Yeah. Because it is more just kind of a like, hey, romp through this fairy tale sort of world, and there's some interesting stuff in it. But that said, there weren't a lot of games in the RPG, at least early on, that in the RPG genre that experimented with adding in some of these kind of action elements in the way. Yeah, that does nothing. And so it's interesting, I think, from a historical perspective to see some of that.
Yeah.
And also recognizing that for some people, this was an entryway into RPGs. Whether it worked or not, the game sold about 800,000 copies.
Jesus.
And that was split. That was about 400,000 Japan, 400,000 America.
So did Japan like this game? Or did they have that?
Not so much, I would say. I mean, they probably bought it because it was a Final Fantasy title. And that is a supposition on my part. But at the same time, this was actually branded in Japan as Final Fantasy USA. Yeah, like if you go and you look at some of the cover stuff, you'll sometimes see the word USA attached to it, and you will also see on some of the cover work like red, white, and blue coloration, like a kind of a little banner up at the top or whatever, like the American flag, because it's Final Fantasy USA. So they definitely did not consider this like canonical as.
I just imagine like a Japanese like RPG connoisseur, I don't know what you would call them. It's just like playing it like, yes, the more basic USA title. It's just very like pretentious about the whole thing. Blowing his fucking teeth out.
For some reason, just like a pretentious like British person in Japan.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
I got Quake. This sand makes no sense.
Well, it's like an escalator, man.
It's going the wrong direction.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if that was on purpose. Okay, these are the most overpowered items in the game. Seeds. A seed completely restores all of your magic. Like, all of your magic casts.
Okay.
And so when you get to the point in this game where you can buy seeds, if you just load up on seeds, you never have trouble with anything again. Because your magic count gets into like especially your white and black magics pretty quickly get into the 20s and above count. So you can just heal yourself up after every battle for like 15, 20 battles and then just use a seed and get all of that back.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, you know, like I said, there's a component of the difficulty here that is completely missing.
I am digging this music.
Yep.
That guy looks like a boss.
Yep.
You'll never beat me. Prepare the Christian Earth. Me.
I'm also badass as fuck. Holy shit. Flamerous Rex.
Flamerous Rex. Wonder.
Wait, let me hit music real quick.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Alright.
Yeah, that is one thing. Like, no matter what, you'll always kind of appreciate the music in some of these different areas because it is pretty cool. He just lost some ribs.
I just imagine he's like, guys, stop fucking doing that. I need those. I think his tail got shorter too.
Yeah. Quake.
Is the tail being an extension of the spine is a weird thing.
Is it?
Yes, in my statement it was. I was more just thinking of it from the sense of like, we actually saw these kittens recently, and they just had little like nubs for tails.
Yeah.
And it's just like, did they cut the spine off? Like, oh my god!
Yeah.
No, his arm! This guy's like the Black Knight. He's but a flesh wound. Come at me.
But.
Oh shit!
Oh no. Well, we may get to see one of the. Yeah, we may get a chance to see one of the things that makes this game super easy here. Yeah, man, I don't think you should be wasting those, cause.
Does it not punish you if you die?
Not really.
Is he still fighting?
Yep.
Oh!
Oh, I got cocky.
How did that kill you? Give up? No.
Yeah, you just get to start over.
What is this? Final Fantasy? What was that shitty one?
You're gonna have to be a little more specific there, man.
The one that made you and like the one you showed me where you could just die randomly.
Oh, 13. Like if your main character
That's
went
what
down.
it was.
Yeah.
It's the one with lightning.
Yeah. So what he's referring to is there's a point in 13 where if you haven't.
Where you're walking down a hallway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But if there's a point in 13 where if you haven't focused on like getting your Crystarium up, which is going to make zero sense to anybody who hasn't played that game. But it's basically your leveling tree. If you haven't focused on a little bit of speed, there's an enemy that can essentially wipe you out before you can act because it's got a really high speed stat and it has a tendency to chain attacks and they show up in groups of like 4. And so I had a point where I was walking, it was like when you're on the airship or something, and I was walking down and I got into the fight and I had no chance to act, and it just instantly KO'd me because they happened to target my party lead, and then as soon as my party lead went down, that was it. It was just instant game over, so I really hated that mechanic. Now, if you leveled up your speed a bit, you could bypass it, but it was still super frustrating because there was no way you could know your speed wasn't high enough until you ran into that enemy. This game has kind of an interesting difficulty curve.
I'm just gonna lay here for a minute.
Because, like, it's not a hard game, but there are places early on until you've, like, developed everything up to the point where you're just too powerful. You can screw up, like happened right here, where, like, I just wasn't really paying attention to my health, and so I didn't cast Cure. But Cure, like, even for splitting, heals me super fast. Because, like, that's one thing in a lot of Final Fantasies. When you split Cure, it divides it among multiple characters, and so the power is equally divided. This one, I mean, it kind of does that, but it does it at a much lower rate.
Does he have another state to fuck up?
No, he has. I'm done.
Nice.
What we got? What we got?
What the fuck?
It's a crystal.
Oh yeah, that dude was just in it for the treasure. That's right.
Oh yeah, Tristram's all about the treasure. His weird little like, coke tab, like ponytail sticking out the back or whatever.
Tab.
I don't know. It looks like a thing that you pop the top of a soda off with or something.
Fair enough. I'm with you.
Look, the crystal.
Never mind that. Get a load of this stuff. Whoa, shit, dude. I'll keep this. Oh, here's what you wanted.
Elixir.
Does he actually keep the grappling hook, or
Yeah. What's up, crystal?
that thing? Can you not interact with it?
No. But next time on Crit Couch, we're gonna open that chest.
I like the cliffhanger. Why can't you interact with the crystal?
I don't know.
Fuck you, Crystal.
Stupid Earth Crystal!